The story kicks off at night in South Sea City, right in front of the Smooth Sails Corporation building. There, we find Lee Dan sprawled on the ground, thinking this might just be the most exciting day of his life. More than that, the young man feels it's the luckiest he's ever been. The protagonist's breath hitches. In his 22 years, he's never laid eyes on such a beauty. Just then, the gorgeous girl leans in close to his face, whispering his name. With a captivating smile, she asks if he'd be willing to do with her right here and now. Lee Dan turns beet red, stammering that his heart already belongs to someone else. She, however, turns her back on him with a cold indifference, making him think she couldn't care less about his feelings. Suddenly, the protagonist's eyes fly open as he spots something dangerous hurtling down towards him. A massive blade plummets from the sky, striking the poor guy squarely as he lets out a scream of pure terror. The scene is so chaotic that even a chicken nearby squawks in panic at the brutal sight. Now sporting a gothic outfit, the girl plants her foot on the weapon and issues an ultimatum: work for her, or have his soul destroyed. Our friend Lee Dan is left utterly bewildered, completely lost by all this talk of souls and second chances. The girl clarifies the situation by screaming right in his face that he's been gone for a while. Far below, police have cordoned off the area as the young man's spirit is pulled up toward the heavens. As paramedics cover his body, that date is forever marked as the most tragic one for our MC. Poor Lee Dan's life was cut tragically short at only 22 years old. Flashing back a bit, we learn that 12 years ago, a revitalization of the world's spiritual energy occurred. This event awakened spiritual roots in nearly 100% of the population, allowing them to cultivate. With cultivation now accessible to everyone, we see even a few elderly women in the park practicing their forms. Parents are so desperate for their kids not to fall behind that even babies are put into training regimens. Because of this, cultivation became a national obsession, with immortality being the ultimate dream for all. In a flashback to his school days, Lee Dan is seen defending Shu Singson from a group of bullies. The boys jeer at him, boasting that they're second-level cultivators who just wanted to ask the girl out. In a bold bluff, our friend claims to have a first-grade spiritual root, making him a level 3 cultivator. But it was all a lie. He gets beaten badly, being part of the 0.1% born powerless. Later, as the girl tends to his wounds, Lee Dan wonders if he'll ever be strong enough to protect her. Back in the present, the MC is at his receptionist job, watching a high-stakes match on his computer. The screen shows the intense final round of a disciple qualification tournament. Without warning, a massive security guard kicks the young man's chair, yelling at him for slacking off. This brute is Huang Meng, the head of security, who a colleague says is the only one worthy of the tournament. The protagonist shoots back that there's no rule forbidding those without spiritual roots from becoming disciples. To prove his point, the captain begins to lift the heavy reception counter with just one hand. Effortlessly hosting the furniture, he asks if the receptionist can match that feat and truly be on his level. Out of nowhere, someone announces Miss Shu's arrival, causing the guard to drop everything with a tremendous crash. In that moment, the company president, Shu Singson, walks in, the very same girl Lee Dan had a crush on in school. The security team goes weak in the knees, blushing as they think about how beautiful their president is. Our friend also feels a wave of embarrassment as she passes, though she doesn't give him a second glance. Huang Meng seizes the chance to mock the young man, claiming he only landed the job because they were former classmates. His words sting, leaving our friend feeling dejected, convinced she would only ever want someone with a top-tier spiritual root. As night fell, the workday at the corporation wound down, leaving the building nearly deserted. Lee Dan begins preparing for his night shift, assuming everyone else has already headed home. But then, his beloved Ju Xingxin appears, making him reflect on how tirelessly she must work. Suddenly, a strange object hurtles toward the counter, catching the protagonist completely off guard. The young man's eyes widen in alarm as he recognizes it as a Yahello-level explosion talisman. A massive blast erupts, sending our friend flying backward from the sheer force of the impact. In the aftermath, 3 hulking masked figures emerge, demanding to know the president's whereabouts. Captain Huang Meng and his security team rush in to confront the intruders, asking what they want. The leader of the thugs announces they're there to take their boss and tells the hands to step aside. Full of bravado, the captain introduces himself, questioning if they really have the guts to try anything in front of him. Unfortunately for them, the invaders are level 3 cultivators and dismantle the security team in seconds. One of the guards, in a panic, draws a firearm and tries to shoot the kidnappers. With a powerful punch, the leader of the thugs conjures a wall of fire, blocking the shot. The bullet melts into nothingness before it can even reach the formidable enemy. The guard stares in disbelief. The man can stop bullets, a clear sign of his overwhelming strength. The invader then reveals he's a level 4 cultivator, daring anyone who wants a quick end to step forward. To the villain's surprise, he turns to find someone still standing after all the chaos. Rising from the wreckage, the MC declares that he won't let anyone lay a hand on Shu Singson. The thug leader, annoyed he didn't deal with him earlier, says the kid is practically begging to be taken out. Huang Meng, injured on the floor, yells for Lee Dan to quit playing the hero, warning that with his useless root, he's only in the way. The protagonist knows he stands absolutely no chance against a level 4 cultivator, and a tremor of fear runs through him. Despite the odds, it's clear the young man is already cooking up a wild plan to stop him. His eyes dart to a monitor, where he sees his beloved is already safely in the elevator. Our friend quickly calculates that she'll be there in under 20 seconds, meaning he has to act now. With sheer determination etched on his face, the MC commits to a high-risk strategy to buy some time. He grabs a nearby metal object and charges the enemy, screaming that he'll stop him or go down trying. The kidnapper's leader scoffs, thinking the boy is just on a futile run toward his own demise. But Li Dan has noticed a critical detail about the villain's flaming attack. The flames aren't from some special ability, but are generated by the sheer speed of his punch cutting through the air. That was the real secret to how he melted the bullet, not raw physical power. Furthermore, the burns marring the enemy's arm prove he isn't immune to fire himself. Oblivious to being figured out, the thug lunges with his fist ablaze, shouting for Li Dan to be gone. Our friend's plan is to trap the intense heat from that punch inside the metal object. He thrusts the container onto the man's hand, intending for the expanding gas to trigger an explosion. A crazed grin spreads across the young man's face as he declares they're going down together. The kidnapper is left utterly stunned by the receptionist's move, frozen in place. A deafening explosion rips through the hall, blasting them both backward from the impact. Our friend's body is sent flying through the air as debris rains down all around. At that exact moment, the elevator doors slide open, revealing Miss Shu. Lying on the floor, gravely injured, Li Dan feels a wave of relief, glad he made it just in time. He's overjoyed that his beloved is safe, noticing how composed she is compared to him, still shaking with fear. Back in the afterlife, the mysterious girl informs him that the king of the underworld has ruled his passing an accident. She introduces herself as Li Jialing, captain of Heaven's security force, essentially a goddess. Our stunned friend asks if she has truly achieved the legendary peak of cultivation. She explains that he complicated her mission. His soul collided with hers immediately after his untimely end. The captain also reveals the king of the underworld didn't even see fit to send someone to retrieve his soul. Because of this mess, Li Jialing is forcing him to help her complete her mission free of charge. And just like that, our protagonist became an officer of the Celestial Court without a clue what was happening. The young man had no inkling of how profoundly this new job would alter the course of his destiny. For his first assignment, the MC arrives at an unsettling place known as Bad Alley. His mission is titled Haunted Alley, and the place is every bit as dark as the name implies. Our friend's objective, therefore, is to locate a haunted mansion somewhere in the vicinity. Rewinding 1 hour, we see the protagonist recoiling at the job description. He's in disbelief when he learns his duties involve capturing monsters and rogue deities. Li Dan tries to argue he's unfit for the role because of his useless spiritual root, but she's already aware. With a grim expression, the goddess states she selected him for a very specific, mysterious reason. This gets the young man's hopes up, thinking they've finally uncovered some hidden talent of his. But she quickly crushes his excitement, admitting she only hired him because heaven is short-staffed. Ever since the spiritual energy revitalization, monsters have been popping up all over the place. The goddess grumbles that some monkey is causing a ruckus, forcing her to recruit anyone she can find. She tosses a cell phone to him, explaining it's a divide item for celestial communication and transport. To ease his nerves, the captain assures him she'll only assign him F-level missions featuring weak, dim-witted monsters. On top of that, the goddess promises that if he performs well, she'll ask the king of the underworld to bring him back. Returning to the mission, our friend ventures down the dark alley, divine cell phone in hand. All of a sudden, the ground begins to tremble and glow, unnerving the protagonist. A strange energy permeates the air, and the young man is left clueless as to what's going on. He finds himself encircled by floating ruins that cast a powerful, sinister light. Gazing toward the alley's end, he spots a mansion and wonders if this is finally the place. Out of the shadows, a whip cracks forward, lashing out at the poor guy with incredible speed. The weapon coils around his neck with staggering force, cutting off his air supply. Our friend is yanked off his feet, screaming for help as he's dragged violently across the ground. Lying there, he sees a feminine silhouette holding the whip, completely baffled by the turn of events. A mysterious woman emerges into the red moonlight, wondering aloud who this man could be. With an air of superiority, she demands to know who he is and why he breached her barrier. The protagonist's face flushes, he stammers the word, which, upon seeing her up close. The woman drags him along the ground like a rag doll, leaving him utterly helpless. Meanwhile, in Heaven's monitoring room, 2 guards realize something has gone terribly wrong. One of them notes that the captain has given the rookie the wrong mission again, predicting trouble ahead. They clarify that there are 2 haunted mansion missions, one is F level, the other is SSS level. The woman's profile on the monitor identifies her as a golden immortal, a foe not even the captain could defeat. One of the celestial guards begins to panic, realizing the situation is about to get much worse. At that moment, a divine notification pings, informing our friend he's received his official officer's item pack. The powerful woman spots the mark on his hand, identifying him as a mere bronze plate officer. Taking his cue, Li Dan announces he's an officer of the Celestial Court and shouts for the witch to surrender. He then opens his phone to check the items his captain just sent him. To his astonishment, he finds 3 separate item packs, 1 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. Up in heaven, the guards freak out. The captain accidentally sent the rookie every single item pack. None of them dare to inform her of the mistake, though, knowing how terrifying she is when angered. Resigned to the situation, one guard simply adds another name to the list of sacrificed souls. Back in the alley, the woman takes issue with our protagonist, calling her a witch. She mocks the young man for being a low-level officer who still has the audacity to insult her. Our friend realizes he's provoked a powerful monster and scrambles to think of a way out of this mess. For a moment, he considers using the gold item pack to guarantee a swift and safe victory. However, remembering the mission is supposed to be F level, he concludes the bronze pack should be more than enough. The young man selects the weakest option, and the divine cell phone emits an intense glow. A red rope materializes from the device, which our hero quickly snatches to attack his opponent. He uses the monster-capturing rope, hurling it with all his might toward the woman. She, however, shatters the item with laughable ease, leaving its fragments to scatter in the air. The Golden Immortal ridicules his attempt to capture her with an item designed for common stray monsters. Irritated, the woman declares she's going to teach the ignorant brat a lesson and summons a volley of talismans. The protagonist is stunned to recognize them as incredibly potent silver talismans. He recalls reading that such items are exceedingly rare and wonders how an ordinary monster could possess them. With a flick of her wrist, the woman launches the magical papers straight at our friend, intending to finish him. Seeing that his bronze items are useless, the young man desperately activates the silver pack on his phone. From it, he summons the Mystic Sky Shield, managing to block the volley of talismans just in the nick of time. The Golden Immortal's eyes widen in surprise. She never expected a bronze officer to possess a silver-grade item. Seizing the opportunity, our hero uses the Immortal capturing rope in an attempt to bind her. The rope strikes true, beginning to coil powerfully around his formidable opponent. The divide item tightens its grip, ensnaring the woman's legs and rendering her immobile. As the rope constricts further, the Golden Immortal finds herself completely unable to break free. Hopelessly bound, the woman is forced to her knees, looking thoroughly infuriated by the situation. Feeling confident, our friend declares that she's trapped and yells for her to give up. Out of nowhere, the young man begins to cough violently, unsure of what's happening to his body. A searing pain rips through him, and he cries out, unable to control what's happening. The spiritual energy from the silver item is surging uncontrollably within him, causing agonizing pain. The woman, meanwhile, is mortified, muttering that she's always been the one who traps others. With a burst of anger, she unleashes her power, effortlessly shattering the silver rope. Furious, she reveals her true form, promising to make the young man wish he'd never been born. The protagonist is filled with terror when he sees she possesses the legendary golden talisman, thinking his end has come. She then unleashes the mighty talisman of the 5 ghostly punishments to annihilate him. The protagonist knows only a gold-tier item can stop a golden talisman and frantically turns to his phone. In a last-ditch effort, he summons the powerful Divine Essence shield to defend himself. The Golden Immortal is left utterly speechless at the sight of the young man's defense. But the strain is immense, and our friend begins to cough up blood from the overwhelming effort. "You're using items 2 levels above your station," she screams. "Aren't you afraid of being obliterated?" Growing more furious, the woman decides to end it all and launches another deadly assault. Our hero's body can't withstand the pressure, and the raw energy begins to tear him apart. An explosion of power erupts, and the protagonist screams in agony from the uncontrolled force. The energy shreds his shirt, revealing a chiseled physique that leaves the woman stunned. At the unexpected sight, the Golden Immortal turns beet red, completely flustered. Our friend's six-pack seems to shimmer with the spiritual energy now coursing through him. The sight triggers a nosebleed so severe in the woman that she's knocked backward by the sheer shock. Li Dan wonders how he's suddenly releasing energy, questioning if it came from the divine items. He's filled with a refreshing sensation he's never known, finally experiencing what it's like to have power. The shirtless young man just stands there, glowing with his newfound, powerful aura. Lying on the ground, the woman assumes he's deliberately trying to seduce her with his physique. Our friend has no idea why the witch went flying just from him getting close. This is way too strong for an F-level mission. He thinks something is definitely wrong here. Suddenly, it clicks. The young man realizes there's only one possible explanation for all of this. As he takes a deliberate step forward, the Golden Immortal flinches at his advance. The woman grows nervous, trying to stem the bleeding as the young man closes the distance between them. It dawns on her that the energy he's emitting is pure, something only those with untouched, pure bodies can manifest. This leads her to a startling conclusion: the officer before her is completely and utterly inexperienced. The thought of this attractive, yet untouched, man leaves her completely frozen. Her nosebleed intensifies, gushing uncontrollably. Desperate, she yells for the protagonist to stay back, which confirms his suspicion. He's figured it out. Her weakness is close-quarters combat, and she's intimidated by his proximity. To regain her composure, the woman places a special talisman on her chest, trying to suppress her emotions. She's never felt so cornered by a man, and the feeling infuriates her. Fuming, the Golden Immortal lunges toward the young man, determined to end this once and for all. In a flash, she grabs him and plants a deep kiss on his lips, leaving our friend in total shock. The young man feels a jolt, realizing this is his very first kiss. The sensation is overwhelming, like being coiled and devoured by a giant anaconda. The woman smirks, thinking no man can resist her charms. Victory is already hers. But something is wrong. She feels the young man doing something completely unexpected. Against all logic, the protagonist is siphoning her spiritual energy through the kiss. The Golden Immortal now feels like a snake, charmed, completely mesmerized and powerless. She realizes with dawning horror that he has her under his complete control, a truly perilous situation. Fearing she'll be drained completely, the woman presses her hands against his chest. With all her might, she shoves him away and lets out a terrified shriek at what just transpired. Our friend is slammed against the wall with incredible force, the impact rattling his bones. He's stunned by the woman's strength, realizing just how far she sent him flying. As he picks himself up, the protagonist spots a man tied to a chair, adding to his confusion. He wonders if this is the person the so-called Quitch had taken earlier. The young man's concern grows as he notices the hostage's body is covered in blue talismans. Without a second thought, our hero moves closer, vowing to save him from this predicament. But as he reaches out to touch the man, his hand passes right through him, leaving him baffled. Then it hits him he's a wandering soul, unable to touch the physical world or be heard by anyone. Suddenly, one of the talismans peels off and slaps onto our friend's back, sending a shiver down his spine. The woman reappears, remarking that he interrupted her just as she was about to savor her prize. She reveals that the talisman now on him is a charm that makes anyone fall hopelessly in love with her. The spell immediately takes hold, and our hero's eyes turn to hearts as he becomes completely smitten. Confidently, the woman declares that no man can escape her clutches or resist her allure. She then invites him to be her next prize, suggesting they have a little fun together. The young man winces, a flash of pain suggesting he's fighting the spell's influence. He lowers his head, mustering all his willpower to resist the woman's enchantment. With a sly grin, our friend looks up, his eyes now glowing, and accepts the Golden Immortal's offer. His eyes gleam with a red light as he agrees that they should have some fun tonight. The woman is taken aback but pleased by his response, calling him a good boy. She moves closer, certain in the knowledge that her marriage talisman has never once failed. She then reveals the talisman had, in fact, failed on one person, the man still tied to the chair. The woman recounts how she tried for a year, using 5 different talismans on him, all to no avail. Frustrated, she licks the hostage's cheek, vowing to make him hers one way or another. But since he's so stubborn, she decides to start with our friend, who seems far more compliant. She grabs him, praising his chiseled body and remarking on his incredible muscles. The Golden Immortal continues her compliments, noting that his abs are particularly fine. She even compares him to a high-end chocolate bar with over 45% cocoa. The woman figures that as long as she avoids kissing him, he can't drain her spiritual energy. Without warning, the protagonist closes the distance between them in a blur of motion, catching her completely by surprise. He activates the immortal capturing rope, binding her tightly against him in a firm embrace. The woman is in disbelief. He should be under her complete control. She can't comprehend what's happening. To her horror, the young man begins siphoning her energy again, and panic sets in. Trapped in his arms, she finds herself unable to summon the strength to break his hold. Her energy is drained away at an alarming rate, and the woman's eyes roll back in weakness. As night deepens, the full moon casts its light over the mansion, signaling the battle's climax. Completely depleted, the Golden Immortal is now the one tied up, wondering how she could have possibly lost. Our friend approaches her, equally puzzled as to how he managed to capture her. He has to admit she's incredibly strong, and it was far from an easy victory. The woman had even used rare and powerful gold talismans that nearly overwhelmed him. Moreover, her mastery of talisman cultivation was on a whole other level for a supposed F-rank mission. Our friend points out that she tried to seduce him the moment he moved into attack. "You're the one who seduced me first," she retorts, "with that impressive physique of yours." The young man admits he's not sure why he absorbed her energy, but he did notice something crucial. When he charged her, she pushed him away before using any talismans, a fatal error. That single act proved that while he's draining her energy, she's powerless to use her arts to escape. The woman fumes, reminding him he was struck by the marriage talisman and should be obeying her every command. He concedes the spell is potent, and for a moment, he did fall under her enchantment. In his confusion, he even mistook her for the girl he truly cares for, Chu Xingxin. But the moment she started complimenting his body, he snapped out of it, realizing it couldn't be his beloved. "I'm saving my first time for Chu Xingxin," the protagonist declares, "and I won't give in to you." The Golden Immortal seems genuinely impressed by his loyalty, remarking that must be why the spell failed. She scoffs at the idea of love, reminding him that he's just a wandering soul and his beloved could have already moved on. Her words give the young man pause, and he seems to consider the painful possibility. To the captain's astonishment, he then announces he doesn't want to be an officer anymore, nor does he wish to be brought back. Our friend explains that he feels useless and has no family, so no one would even miss him. With a sad smile, he says it might be better to just pass on and maybe reincarnate into a stronger body. "So you have no reason to live just because no one will miss you?" the captain challenges. She then conjures a sphere of light showing an image of Chu Xingxin sobbing, pressing her point. The protagonist is completely shaken by the sight, unable to believe his eyes. The image clearly shows his beloved weeping uncontrollably as his body is carried away. The young man recalls how she always treated him with a cool distance, making him wonder why she cares so deeply now. Like a phantom, he drifts up through the ceiling and soars toward the scene of the accident to see for himself. When he arrives, he sees his beloved crying her heart out over his body, and the crushing reality sets in. His soul hovers there, watching the heartbreaking scene, as he finally understands that she truly does care for him. The Golden Immortal is taken aback by his sudden change of heart, questioning the immense risk he's taking. I'm going to be brought back, the protagonist declares with newfound conviction, so I can finally tell her how I feel. But before he can finish, the captain appears and delivers a powerful punch right to his face. You took your clothes off during a mission, she yells, accusing him of just fooling around. The goddess shoves him aside and storms toward the golden immortal, weapon in hand. The captive woman glances at our friend, wondering if he might be some special kind of idiot. Meanwhile, back at the station, the captain notes their investigation into the kidnapping has hit a dead end. Captain Go Jing is speaking with Shu Xingxin, informing her that they're examining Li Dan's body. Suddenly, an officer tries to block someone from entering the room but is promptly ignored. A young man named Hong Xiaoming rushes in, looking concerned, and asks if Xingxin is alright. He offers his protection, stating that the South Sea sect will now handle her security. With that, they depart from the station, climbing into a luxury car destined for a secure location. On the way, Xingxin explains she raced to the company the moment she heard about the incident. The young man expresses his relief that she's safe, thanking the heavens nothing worse happened. While she appreciates his concern, the woman admits she isn't in the right state of mind to talk. He presses on, asking if she's feeling unwell, but she reveals the victim was a close friend of hers. All at once, a talisman on Su Xingxin's eye flashes and her expression goes blank as if hypnotized. She collapses into Hong Xiaoming's arms as the talisman detaches and falls away. The young man catches her, a sinister smile spreading across his face as he carries her into the car. He carefully arranges her in the back seat, ready to set his plan into motion. With a deranged look in his eyes, he reveals that the talisman he stole from his father is far more effective. I know you don't want me because I'm too young, he sneers, but I'm going to steal your spiritual root. He then orders the driver to take them to his family's hotel to see the plan through. Meanwhile, the captain apologizes to our friend, admitting she sent him on the wrong mission. She chews out the guards for not warning her, but they sheepishly admit they were too scared to. The goddess confesses she thought he was either already gone or had accidentally taken himself out with the items. You could have asked before you punched me. The young man complains, rubbing his head. I think my head disappeared. Her curiosity piqued, she asks how he survived and, more importantly, how he absorbed the Golden Immortal's energy. To test the theory, the captain grabs him and kisses him. She pulls back, shocked, confirming that he can indeed absorb her energy. The goddess slaps him, demanding to know what he was doing and asking if gods are just fond of kissing. The captain wonders about the secret behind his unique constitution that grants him such a bizarre power. She notices his hair has turned a vibrant red and his very soul seems to glow with immense energy. The goddess theorizes that his constitution acts like a black hole, endlessly absorbing any energy it contacts. Excited by the prospect, our friend asks if that means he can use any item he wants without limit. It's just a hunch, the captain replies. I'll have to ask my brother to be certain. The captain officially announces the Golden Immortal's punishment for illegally entering the mortal realm. She accepts her fate but asks for one final request before being taken away. With tears streaming down her face, the woman confesses she is truly in love with the mortal she took. She explains that she fell for him at one of his concerts, calling him a dazzlingly brilliant celebrity. But no matter how she tried to win his affection, he consistently rejected her. In her desperation, she resorted to taking him and covering him in love talismans, yet nothing worked. The woman breaks down, crying that not even immortals can resist her spells, so she can't understand why he did. Both our friend and the captain are stunned to hear that a mere mortal could resist so many powerful enchantments. Curious, the protagonist approaches the hostage and removes his mask to see his face. A look of pure disgust washes over our hero's face, leaving him completely speechless. He awkwardly explains that in the entertainment world, some male celebrities can look quite feminine, and vice versa. The Golden Immortal's eyes flash with rage as the devastating truth dawns on her. Overwhelmed with shame, she begs to be locked away for all eternity to hide her humiliation. The captain informs her the celestial prison is at capacity, so she'll be confined to his phone's app instead. Our friend uses the phone, and with a flash the woman's soul is captured within the divine device. To the young man's surprise, the Golden Immortal appears, trapped in a virtual cell inside the phone. He's indignant at the thought of having to carry his prisoner around with him 24/7. The captain then announces she has some good news and some bad news for our hero. Meanwhile, the hostage awakens, wondering if he was just saved by a level 5 cultivator. A blush creeps across his face as he recalls our friend's physique, deciding he must find a way to repay the favor. Back at the police station, the forensics team gets ready to examine our protagonist's body. The assistant grumbles about the director eating instant noodles during the procedure. I've seen it all, she retorts, telling him to just get on with cutting the body. All of a sudden, our friend's body begins to twitch, causing the director to spit her noodles everywhere. The corpse sits bolt upright on the table, making both medical examiners scream in absolute terror. A crimson aura envelops the body as its eyes glow intensely in the dim light. In a haunting, ethereal voice, our resurrected hero asks if they happen to have any clothes. The question is met with silence as both examiners promptly faint from the shock. He looks down at his own body, realizing with a start that he's back to life, and his hair is now red. The captain explains that because he completed an SS-level mission, his immediate revival was granted. But the bad news, she continues, is that Shu Xingxin was struck by one of Hong Xiaoming's spell talismans. The goddess is convinced he was also the mastermind behind the earlier kidnapping attempt at the company. His endgame is to force a dual cultivation with Xingxin, allowing him to steal her top-tier spiritual root. In a panic, our friend bolts from the morgue, clad only in his underwear, desperate to save his beloved. "I'll teach the South Sea sect a lesson," he shouts. "They'll regret ever touching Shu Xingxin." Fueled by determination, the young man swears to protect her and finally confess his feelings. He tries to activate the items on his phone but realizes something is wrong with the device. The captain's image appears on the screen, explaining that the divine items only work against monsters. Just then, an unseen force blasts our hero backward, leaving him sprawled on the ground, powerless. Ever since the revitalization of spiritual energy, the ultimate dream for everyone has been to become a mighty immortal. The path of cultivation is divided into 7 distinct stages, with true immortality as the final step. The South Sea sect stands as one of the 10 most powerful sects in the nation, renowned as masters of talisman cultivation. Overwhelmed with desperation, our friend pleads with the captain to help him save Shu Xingxin. But the goddess firmly states her hands are tied, as she cannot violate the laws of heaven. She does, however, decide to offer him a crucial piece of guidance, revealing an important secret. She explains that the Golden Immortal is, in fact, the most powerful talisman master among all the gods. And since the phone's prison is sealed by the Celestial Emperor himself, she's completely stripped of her arts while inside. The hint clicks for our friend. This means anyone trapped in there is essentially a sitting duck. With a final word, the captain bids him farewell and vanishes, leaving the young man to save his beloved on his own. "Wait, I don't get the hint," he yells, but the goddess is already gone, offering no further clarification. The protagonist racks his brain trying to decipher what she meant by sitting duck, and a plan begins to form. He quickly rules out threatening her. She'll still be a goddess once she's eventually released. That leaves seduction. Given the dismal conditions of her prison, maybe he can win her over. Sporting a mischievous grin, our hero calls out to the Golden Immortal and makes a proposition. She flatly ignores him, stating she's currently busy being miserable. The young man is stumped. He has absolutely no experience when it comes to making a woman happy. Then his eyes land on a clothing advertisement on a nearby building, and a brilliant idea strikes him. With newfound conviction, he decides that a shopping spree is the key to cheering up the Golden Immortal. Meanwhile, at the Shu family mansion, the head of security stands guard. He clutches a love letter, vowing that tonight is the night he will finally confess his feelings to Shu Xingxin. Our hero reasons that if new clothes make mortal women happy, the same logic must apply to goddesses. The only problem, he remembers, is that he's broke and currently only wearing a pair of underwear. Upon arriving at the mansion, he decides he'll just have to borrow some clothes to win over the Golden Immortal. Suddenly, his attention is caught by 3 shadowy figures scaling the wall and sneaking onto the property. He immediately assumes they're assassins from the South Sea sect, sent to target Xingxin's family. The protagonist is at a loss, dressed only in his underwear. He's in no position to fight. At the same time, the security captain climbs through Xingxin's window, intending to leave his love letter. But our friend appears silently behind him, ready to strike the intruder with the only weapon he has. With a solid thwack, he brings the cell phone down on the captain's head, knocking him out cold. Our hero pumps his fist in victory, thankful for the durable craftsmanship of Celestial Court phones. He notices the word King on the captain's jacket, assuming it denotes a high rank. His assumption is shattered when he removes the man's pants and discovers a pair of Peppa Pig underwear. The young man quickly puts on the captain's uniform, finding it to be a perfect fit. Glancing around at the room's pink decor, he realizes he must be in Xingxin's bedroom. With no time to spare, he decides to grab her clothes first and warn her parents later. Out of nowhere, a female voice asks who's in the room, making him jump. Our friend instantly recognizes the voice and freezes, paralyzed with fear as he realizes who it is. To his horror, Xingxin's mother appears in the doorway, catching him red-handed in her daughter's room. He panics, realizing he's a man in her daughter's bedroom, holding a handful of her clothes. In his mind, he can already hear her calling him a pervert and forbidding Xingxin from ever seeing him again. Xingxin's mother takes in the uniform and the young man's red hair, and her eyes widen in recognition. "Wang," she says, "what are you doing here?" Leaving our hero utterly confused. In a surprisingly swift motion, she rushes to the door and locks it, ensuring they won't be disturbed. She jiggles the handle, confirming it's secure. "I stopped taking your calls," she says, "so why did you come here?" The woman confesses that their fling was just a fleeting thing, and that she has a family to consider. The protagonist is completely lost, unable to make any sense of this bizarre conversation. Her eyes then fall upon the love letter on the floor, and she picks it up to read it. As she reads Captain Wang's words, her expression softens, and she lets out a romantic sigh. She moves closer to our friend, whispering in his ear that she had feelings for him too. Leaning against him, the woman reveals she never would have given him the clothes if she didn't like him. She continues, saying she wouldn't have gone to the trouble of engraving his name's meaning with pure energy. It dawns on the young man with dawning horror. King wasn't a rank, it was the name Wang. He realizes he's stumbled upon a massive secret and is now in incredibly hot water. Our hero fears that if she uncovers his true identity, she'll banish him from Xingxin's life forever. He knows time is running out. He needs to grab the clothes and get out of there fast. But Xingxin's mother wraps her arms around him, saying she'll let him have his way with her one last time. A cry of despair escapes the protagonist as he turns bright red from the shocking turn of events. He struggles to get free, but she just asks him to be gentle and savor the moment. Suddenly, the woman's eyes fix on something in our friend's hand, and her expression turns to one of shock. 30 minutes later at the Leap Hotel, the stage is set for action. A guard confirms to Hong Xiaoming that all the hotel's defenses are active and ready. The young man states he needs an uninterrupted 15 minutes to shatter her spiritual roots barrier. No one will get through, the guard assures him. We've also hired the Black Eagle sect for backup. Satisfied, Hong Xiaoming dismisses the guard, who departs wishing him an enjoyable time. All at once, another guard runs in, breathlessly announcing that someone has arrived to rescue Xu Xingxin. Down at the hotel entrance, our friend, wearing the king jacket, stares down a line of guards. Holding a briefcase, he boldly declares he's here for Xingxin, and he's not leaving without her. In a conference room, the 5 talisman generals of the South Sea sect are discussing the situation. One of them, known as Blue Fan, confidently states that he alone is more than enough to handle the problem. Another general, Lord Zhang, readily agrees, praising Blue Fan's renowned skill. The Ghost Elder is also in attendance, appearing completely unfazed by the intrusion. The Umbrella Lady is lost in a daydream, fantasizing about a romance movie and a handsome boyfriend. Is this mission really worth our time? The King of Talisman Armors roars, slamming his fist on the table in frustration. The masked messenger enters, reporting that a red-haired man has appeared and that all communications have been mysteriously cut. When the King of Armors learns the intruder is just the powerless receptionist, he scoffs at the threat. Blue Fan decides to stroll down to the entrance himself to see what all the fuss is about. The messenger advises him not to go too hard on the boy, noting that he looks fragile and won't last long. Back at the entrance, our hero has already taken down all the guards and is preparing his next move. He marvels at the sheer power contained within a single blue-level explosion talisman. The Golden Immortal explains that the destructive power of talismans grows exponentially with each level. With a seductive tone, she promises him even divine-grade talids in exchange for the clothes. Our friend grins, realizing that beautiful clothes are a universal desire for both mortals and goddesses. He agrees to the deal and uses his phone to transport the briefcase into her virtual prison. The woman's eyes light up as she beholds the beautiful garments, eagerly sorting through them. "I'm gonna start changing now," she teases, care for a little peek. The protagonist's face flushes, and he wonders if gods have any sense of modesty at all. Suddenly, she shrieks at him to turn around, leaving the young man completely baffled. He glances at the phone screen and is shocked by what he sees. "These clothes are way too tight," she complains. "They don't fit me in the slightest." Our hero tries to argue that the size isn't small, but he's cut off. The defeated guards stumble back to their feet, demanding to know how he, a powerless nobody, could use blue talismans. An elegantly dressed man steps forward, ordering the guards to stand down and let him handle the intruder. He reveals himself as Blue Fan, one of the 5 generals, and correctly deduces the talismans aren't the young man's own. The general sneers at our friend, saying that having a single blue talisman means nothing. The protagonist glares back, asking who he is without a hint of fear. Blue Fan dramatically unfurls his fan, revealing it is intricately woven from 17 blue talismans. He boasts about his one-of-a-kind weapon, calling himself a genius for its creation. A wave of terror washes over our hero as he imagines the devastating power of 17 talismans unleashed at once. In desperation, he begs the Golden Immortal for help, but she snaps back that the clothes didn't fit. "You look beautiful in tight clothes," our friend shouts, which seems to fluster her. The general readies his attack, announcing, "I'll show you what a true talisman master can do." Moments later, he's a battered mess on the floor, having received a thorough thrashing from our hero. The protagonist sighs in relief, thanking the Golden Immortal for her help in the dangerous situation. He's grateful for the 3 powerful silver talismans she provided for the fight. The woman, completely embarrassed, asks shyly if he really meant it when he called her attractive. The young man grabs the defeated general by the collar, demanding to know where Xu Xingxin is being held. Meanwhile, in the conference room, the remaining generals are busy playing games on their phones. The King of Armors loses a round and slams his phone down in frustration, complaining he can't play properly in his armor. "That's it, I'm done," he roars. "I'm not gonna sit here and be bullied by this game." The masked messenger points out that the armor is for his protection and that he should just bear with it. When the King of Armors tries to storm out, the messenger blocks his path, asking if he dares to defy orders. A dark aura surrounds the knight as he threatens the messenger, warning that no one who stands in his way survives. The messenger simply ignores the threat, remarking that he got a little ahead of himself just now. The King of Armors retreats to the bathroom, lamenting his inability to even use the restroom while wearing the armor. He realizes he has no choice but to go home and get the tools required to remove it. The knight grumbles that the messenger has disabled the elevator, forcing him to take the stairs. As our hero warily climbs the stairs, he stumbles upon the defeated general lying in his path. The Golden Immortal explains that the talismans have temporarily boosted his attributes to the level of a Golden Immortal, but the effect will only last for 15 minutes, so he needs to rush if he's to save his beloved in time. Our friend charges up the stairs breathless but driven by the single thought of saving his beloved. He drags the defeated general along, who moans about his headache the entire way. The protagonist hefts him onto his shoulders, declaring him a hostage for the exchange for Xingxin. But in his haste, he trips on a step, loses his footing, and goes down hard. His head smacks against the stairs, leaving him dizzy and disoriented from the fall. When he gets back to his feet, he realizes with a jolt of panic that his hostage has vanished. Meanwhile, the King of Armors is barreling down the stairs in a desperate rush for the bathroom. He runs right into our hero and bellows for him to get out of the way. The massive knight glares at him, demanding he move aside as he's in a serious hurry. The protagonist is taken aback by the man's sheer size and wonders who this new foe is. The King of Armors issues a threat but is cut short by a powerful punch from our friend. The impact shatters his armor, sending the man flying as he screams, "It's a ghost!" The knight can't hold it in any longer and suffers the ultimate humiliation right then and there. He cries out in shame before collapsing to the ground, utterly defeated and mortified. Back at the police station, the medical examiners flee the building, screaming about the ghost they encountered. Captain Gojing is baffled by the news that Li Dan's body has disappeared. He questions if it was all some kind of illusion and what purpose it could possibly serve. The captain then discovers a mysterious note left behind in the autopsy room. The note claims the South Sea sect has taken Singson and pleads for immediate help. Skeptical, the captain decides to call Shu Singson directly to verify the information. Captain Go calls Shu Singson, casually asking if there have been any new developments in the case. He plays it off, saying he just wanted to check in and see if she was alright or needed anything. The woman on the other end thanks him for his concern, assuring him that the South Sea sect's defenses are excellent. The captain feigns relief, hanging up the phone, seemingly satisfied with her response. As Singson hangs up, her image, along with Hong Xiaoming's, flickers and dissolves like a phantom. They were, in fact, cleverly disguised zombies, a ruse to mislead the police captain. Lord Xiang, the master of illusions, and his undead puppets had successfully fooled the authorities. But they are aware the police are now suspicious and know they must reinforce their guard. The messenger inquires about the Umbrella Lady's whereabouts and learns she has gone to the 27th floor. Back at the station, Captain Go dismisses the note as a childish prank. Suddenly, a blur of motion zips past him and the captain is startled by the unexpected presence. A mysterious woman appears before him, accusing him of hiding something about Singson. The captain tries to deflect, reminding her that she's under investigation for excessive force. He attempts to leave, but the woman blocks his path, making it clear she won't be brushed aside. She snatches the note from his hand and declares she's spending the night at the hotel to conduct her own investigation. Meanwhile, our hero continues his frantic climb up the stairs, finally reaching the 26th floor, completely exhausted. The Golden Immortal warns him that the talisman's effects are fading fast. His 3 silver talismans have already degraded to blue level, and soon they will be completely useless. He begs to borrow just 2 more, but she flatly refuses, reminding him they aren't cheap trinkets. The protagonist finally reaches the landing of the 27th floor, steeling himself for the confrontation ahead. Our friend throws open the door, bracing himself for whatever lies on the other side. He steps into an enormous hall, awestruck by the sheer scale of the room. In the center of the hall stands the Umbrella Lady, surrounded by a crowd of swooning men. One of the men pleads to be her next victim, proclaiming it's his dream to pass away in her arms. With a coy smile, the Umbrella Lady accepts the love-struck man's request. She embraces him, whispering that she'll let him do as he pleases with her tonight. But instead of affection, the man sinks his teeth into her shoulder with savage force. His form twists into a grotesque creature as he mercilessly drains the woman's life energy. The Umbrella Lady hurls him away, realizing too late that she's walked into a trap. A sinister grin spreads across her face as she reveals her true monstrous form, preparing to feast. Fresh food has arrived. She purrs, her hungry eyes locked on our protagonist. The young man is horrified, asking if she's even human or just a monster in disguise. The woman seems surprised he made it past Blue Fan and dismisses him as a threat. She casually mentions that Blue Fan is the weakest of the generals, while she ranks as the 3rd strongest. Done with the conversation, our hero charges, demanding she release Singson immediately. He lands a powerful punch, sending the woman crashing into a nearby wall. The Umbrella Lady notes with interest that he's empowered by 3 blue-level strengthening talismans. With a masochistic grin, she urges him to hit her harder, admitting she enjoys the pain. The protagonist is thoroughly creeped out, wondering why he keeps running into so many oddballs today. Suddenly, he's struck by an unseen force, sent flying across the room with no idea what just hit him. The Umbrella Lady dusts herself off and asks with a smirk, "Did your own punch come back to haunt you?" "That must have stung," she says. "But as you can see, I'm perfectly fine." The woman opens her umbrella, revealing its true, horrifying form, and our hero's blood runs cold. The protagonist coughs up blood, unable to comprehend how his own attack was turned against him. She explains that her blood marks thrive on violence, reflecting any attack back at its source. Wounded and drained, our hero collapses to his knees, completely out of options. The Golden Immortal's voice crackles through the phone, screaming at him to run for his life. She warns that the blood marks are a purple-level dark art, something he has no hope of defeating. But the young man refuses to back down, insisting he must save Shu Singson, no matter the cost. The Golden Immortal scoffs, asking how he plans to explain the awkward encounter with Singson's mother. It doesn't matter, our hero declares with grim determination. I'll risk everything to save her. His resolve leaves the Golden Immortal speechless. She simply can't believe it. Annoyed, she snaps that she's done helping him and that he can go get himself taken out for all she cares. She can't help but wonder why no man has ever loved her with the same fierce devotion he shows for Shinksin. The protagonist struggles back to his feet, yelling that even her blood mark must have a limit. He charges forward again, shouting that he's about to find out just how many punches she can reflect. The young man unleashes a blistering flurry of punches, a rapid-fire assault aimed at the umbrella lady. The woman seems thrilled, remarking that she feels like she's in an action comic with this many blows. But the reflected damage is too much. Our hero collapses, battered and bloodied, his gambit failed. The umbrella lady stands over him, planting a foot on his back as she sneers, "My blood mark has no limit." Suddenly, the umbrella lady shouts for someone to stop what they are doing. A man smashes through the window and lands in the hall, announcing himself as Black Blade Yu Minjuan. He launches a powerful kick at the woman, aiming to neutralize her. The kick connects solidly, sending the umbrella lady flying from the force of the blow. She quickly recovers, demanding to know the identity of the intruder who ambushed her. The man lands gracefully, his gaze fixed on the woman with grim determination. Our protagonist's spirits lift at the sight of the officer, realizing his message must have gotten through. Police, Blackblade states, leveling an accusation at her sect for kidnapping. The umbrella lady is surprised to see law enforcement getting involved in their affairs. Her demeanor shifts, and she gets flustered, telling him that his uniform makes him look incredibly handsome. With a seductive air, the woman offers her full cooperation, even suggesting he could search her personally. The officer completely ignores her advances, his hand going to the hilt of his deadly blade. He charges her with full force, and the woman seems to accept her fate with a mysterious smile. Our hero tries to shout a warning about the danger, but it's already too late for the officer. The umbrella lady reveals her blood mark, calling him a fool for falling into her trap. The officer's attack is reflected back at him, and a deep gash opens on his arm as blood sprays. She accuses him of trespassing on sect property and wielding a dark art himself. "It doesn't matter what you do," the woman taunts, "every attack you make will just come back to you." She closes in on him, asking if he knows why they call her the umbrella lady. With a confident smirk, she reveals it's because she repels all attacks, just like an umbrella in the rain. Our friend watches this scene unfold, knowing he has to help the officer, no matter what. The umbrella lady cackles, vowing to drain his energy until he's nothing but a dried-up husk. In a flash, the officer lunges forward, his blade slicing the woman clean in two. She looks down in shock, unable to process that his attack actually landed. The woman stares at the grievous wound, wondering how this could have possibly happened. Our hero is amazed to see the officer pressing his attack against the umbrella lady. She laughs a crazed sound, mocking him for his foolishness, and saying he must have a death wish. Her blood mark flares to life, and the gruesome wound on her body begins to knit itself shut instantly. An identical wound appears on the officer's chest, just as the woman's body becomes whole again. She screams in frustration, wondering why the officer's body isn't reacting to the reflected damage. The man reveals he is acting as a witness, stating that she has just attacked an officer of the law with a dark art. He advances again, his blade a blur as he engages her in close-quarters combat. The umbrella lady desperately tries to parry with her umbrella, but his blade is overwhelmingly powerful. She's stunned by the officer's raw strength and struggles to fend off his relentless assault. The man moves with incredible speed, unleashing a flurry of strikes that the woman can barely track. She cries out in pain, unable to keep up with the skilled officer's fierce attack. The protagonist watches in awe, amazed by the officer's power and velocity. "He's good," the Golden Immortal's voice says in his head. "There's nothing more you can do to help." But the young man refuses to stand by, insisting he has to see Shu Xingxin no matter what. The woman questions his resolve, reminding him that his talismans have worn off, rendering him useless in this fight. "I don't care if Xingxin sees me or not," our friend replies. "The only thing that matters is saving her." Without warning, the ceiling gives way, and a massive stone slab comes crashing down on an unsuspecting figure. The officer, still locked in combat with the umbrella lady, doesn't notice the commotion. The floor trembles as more enemies leap down from the floor above, eager to join the fray. Blackblade finds himself surrounded by a swarm of zombies and braces for an intense fight. He expertly defends against their attacks, showcasing his mastery with the blade. The officer wonders who these zombies are and where they could have possibly come from. The other generals arrive, announcing they couldn't just watch from the sidelines and have come to lend a hand. The generals land with imposing thuds, ready to aid their comrade in battle. A muffled cry for help comes from beneath the stone slab that has pinned our friend to the floor. The Ghost Elder compliments Blackblade, acknowledging that he truly lives up to his fearsome reputation. The umbrella lady complains that the officer is a powerful level 4 cultivator. The Elder explains that the officer's unique ability is a perfect counter to her blood mark art. He reveals that Blackblade's sword is cursed, imbued with the power to nullify blood mark talismans. The officer questions why they aren't retreating, now that they know the secret of his sword. The Elder smirks, revealing he knows the officer is under investigation and on the verge of being kicked off the force. He discloses that the sword grows stronger by feeding on blood, and that half of its marks are already glowing. The old man boasts of his contacts within the police force, confirming he knows the officer is suspected of being a killer. "Is your sword strong enough to take on all 5 of us at once?" he challenges. Lord Shang begins his incantation, using necromancy to summon a banquet of corpses to overwhelm the officer. Gnarled, zombified hands burst from the floorboards, ready to claw at the officer from all sides. It doesn't matter how strong your sword is, Lord Shang taunts, it's useless against the undead. The officer finds himself completely encircled by a horde of zombies and prepares for the onslaught. He charges forward, his cursed blade a whirlwind of motion as he prepares to cut them all down. The zombie horde swarms him, burying him in a mass of decaying bodies. The Ghost Elder lets out a superior cackle as he watches the scene unfold. See, Blackblade isn't so tough after all, he says. The key is to exploit his weakness. The Elder cradles the injured Umbrella Lady, channeling his energy to heal her wounds. He explains that since zombies don't bleed, the officer's sword cannot power up. Suddenly, a blast of red energy erupts from the pile of bodies, vaporizing all the zombies at once. The Elder is stunned to see the officer has unleashed the Howl of the Black Blade. With a technique he calls the Ghostly Dance, Black Blade effortlessly carves through the remaining zombies. The generals are shocked by the officer's raw power, unable to comprehend how he did it. The Elder urgently tells Lord Shang to buy him more time to prepare another attack. The officer declares that as long as he's fast enough, mere zombies pose no threat to him. He dashes through the room, cutting down the last of the zombies with blinding speed. Lord Shang realizes he's outmatched and desperately calls for backup from the others. Blackblade is stronger than me, he shouts, pleading for the Umbrella Lady to intervene. The woman re-enters the fight, preparing to unleash her own special technique. She activates her umbrella talismans, creating a formidable barrier to halt the officer's advance. The Ghost Elder unleashes his ultimate attack, the Great Karmic Depth, upon the officer. He summons the demonic spirits from the haunted mansion, commanding them to possess Blackblade's body. The legion of ghosts swarms the officer, their malevolent energy seeping into him. Blackblade cries out in agony as he feels his body being forcibly taken over by the spirits. The Umbrella Lady explains that the lingering resentment from those he's taken out is his greatest weakness. With over 100 ghosts possessing him, the Elder sneers. He's bound to lose his mind. The officer screams in desperation as the ghosts tear at his soul, subjecting him to unimaginable torture. All the while, our friend remains trapped beneath the heavy stone slab, unable to move. He groggily comes to, confused about where he is and what's happening around him. The protagonist remembers being hit by something and realizes he's stuck in the middle of a massive battle. He tries to call out to the Golden Immortal but finds he can neither speak nor move his body. Our hero feels the immense weight of the stone crushing him and silently pleads for Shinxin to hold on. Drawing on every ounce of his willpower, he strains to lift the massive slab of stone. He grunts with pain and effort, refusing to give up on freeing himself to save his beloved. But the stone won't budge, leaving him pinned with only his arms sticking out. Despondent, he accepts that he's trapped and utterly powerless to help. The officer, however, resists the possession, growling that the ghost's power is pathetic and disappointing. The generals are stunned to see him successfully fighting off their combined assault. Blackblade breaks free from the ghost's hold and prepares to launch a devastating counterattack. He charges forward, his blade ablur as he cuts through the zombies with incredible speed. The officer lets out a roar of fury upon discovering that the photo of Singson he carried has been destroyed. The generals are baffled, wondering what photo could have possibly provoked such a rage. Enraged, Blackblade advances, swearing he will personally take out whoever ruined his precious photo. Lord Shan quickly activates a transformation talisman to defend against the officer's wrath. He takes on the form of Zhu Xingxin and pleads for his life. The general taunts the officer, saying he can't possibly bring himself to attack the woman he loves. "You idiot," Blackblade growls, "you think I'd fall for such a cheap trick?" He lunges forward with his blade, declaring that his speed will allow him to simply cut around her. In a panic, Lord Shang uses several more talismans, preparing for another transformation. He creates multiple copies of Singxin, asking if the officer can possibly dodge all of them. Meanwhile, with a surge of adrenaline, our friend shatters the stone slab with his bare hands. Finally free, he feels a rush of power as he realizes his talismans are active again. The protagonist spots a group of men hauling around zombie props and wonders what they're up to. He quickly discovers it's all an elaborate theatrical production, complete with a director and special effects. One of the stagehands questions why they have to haul the zombies around like manual laborers. The director explains the chariot is necessary to uphold Lord Shang's fearsome reputation as a necromancer. Suddenly, a hand clamps down on the director's shoulder, making him jump. Our hero appears behind him and shouts, "Ghost!" right in his ear, scaring half to death. With a smirk, the protagonist announces that his work here is done and he can move on. He ties up all the fake zombies, remarking that if they're so fond of zombies, they can enjoy their company up close. Our hero readies himself for battle, declaring that the generals are his next targets. The transformed women swarm the officer, distracting him with their seductive advances. The Ghost Elder snaps a picture of the compromising scene, planning to use it for blackmail later. "Stop it," Blackblade yells, "I'll hit you for real." He pleads with them to have some sense of decency, and not to grope him in the middle of a fight. One of the women kisses him, whispering, "How about this?" to provoke him further. But mid-kiss, her face twists into that of a grotesque zombie, and the officer recoils in horror. He retches violently, a rainbow of disgust erupting from his mouth, leaving him completely traumatized. The generals are confused, wondering why their transformation magic suddenly failed. The ghost elder decides to strike while the officer is distracted and vulnerable. But our friend appears from out of nowhere, landing a devastating punch on the elder. The general is sent flying from the impact, defeated in a single blow. Lord Shang recognizes our hero as the kid with the useless spiritual root. The protagonist rises to his full height, preparing to take on the two remaining generals. He challenges them to a fight, stating he's in a rush to save the one he loves. Meanwhile, on the top floor, Hong Xiaoming begins the final preparations for his ritual. He is just moments away from performing the dual cultivation with Xingxin to steal her power. The young man mutters that he's almost there, so close to obtaining his heart's desire. Our hero glances over at the officer, who is still throwing up rainbows, and wonders what is wrong with him. The ghost elder bursts from the rubble, preparing to launch a vengeful counterattack. The ghost elder smashes through the ceiling, preparing to unleash his full fury on our friend. He lands directly in front of the protagonist, his face contorted with rage at being ambushed. With his ghostly eyes, he assesses our hero's power and notices something is off. The silver talismans have degraded to a mere yellow level, drained of their spiritual energy. "You fool," the elder sneers, "you severely overestimated yourself, attacking me with such weak talismans." Our friend is shocked to realize his power has dwindled, leaving him in grave danger. The general summons his legion of ghosts, commanding them to possess the protagonist's body. But to the elder's utter astonishment, absolutely nothing happens. The young man just stands there, unaffected. He wonders why his attack failed while our hero looks on, equally confused. The general is baffled, and the protagonist gives him a look of pure mockery. "Get out of my way," our friend says. "I don't want to have to hit an old man." Desperate, the elder decides to unleash his most powerful technique, the red-cloaked ghoul. The other generals recoil in terror, knowing that if that entity is released, none of them will survive. The elder summons the ghoul and sends it hurtling toward our hero to annihilate him. But the ghoul simply phases right through the protagonist's body, causing no harm whatsoever. The general's eyes go wide with disbelief. He cannot comprehend what he is seeing. The other generals are equally stunned, left speechless by the unbelievable sight. Our hero wonders what's going on as his body begins to emit a brilliant glow. The energies of yin and yang are merging within him, and he feels an immense power coursing through his veins. Spiritual energy typically functions like a battery, requiring both positive and negative charges to work. Yin and yang energies must be in perfect harmony for talismans to draw power, much like a battery. Our friend, however, has these two energies fused within his body, making him a self-sustaining power source. As a result, the yellow-level talismans on his body surge with power, evolving back to the silver level. The ghost elder's jaw hangs open, utterly unable to believe the incredible power radiating from him. Lord Xiang shouts for the old man to make a run for it while he tries to hold our hero back. With that, the general raises his flute, preparing to unleash his West River necromancy. But the protagonist simply decks both of them with a single punch, putting an end to their nonsense. He then informs them that he's already taken care of the fake zombies they were using in their little stage play. Lying on the ground, the general is accused of being a fraud who faked his way into the 5 generals. The man panics, denying everything and calling the accusation a complete fabrication. Our hero then challenges him to use his necromancy again, to prove he's not lying. Trapped, the general breaks into a cold sweat, realizing he has no other choice. He draws a massive sword and strikes a dramatic anime pose, trying to look impressive. But our friend has run out of patience and lands another solid punch, ending the theatrics. With 2 generals down, only the umbrella lady remains, and she's clearly terrified. She turns bright red and threatens to scream if he takes one more step toward her.